Welcome to one of the coolest weekends of the wine year. It is the Cape Wine Auction, where millions literally are raised for a number of fantastic charities, and I'm in the fortunate position of being the MC and the auctioneer for the weekend. Tonight gets things going. This is Tokara, G&T Ferreira's estate out in Stellenbosch, home of the American Express barrel tasting. Right around me are a whole pile of very unique, very exclusive, vintage in many cases, wines that are up for sale tonight. So what I've done is hijacked a number of people to chat to about the wine, find out what's here and get their thoughts on it. It's a warm-up for tomorrow and the Nedbank Private Wealth funded Cape Wine Auction, where we're hoping to beat the 23 million rand we raised last year. But tonight it's the warm-up, it's the camaraderie, it's some terrific wine and a really great celebration of the start of what I think is the best weekend on the wine calendar. So the impossibly good-looking character who looks like he's just escaped from an American soap opera behind me, it is actually one of the finest winemakers on the planet. Miles Mossop, this is home, this is Tokara. What are we drinking?
So we're drinking the Tokara Direct Reserve Red. It's our flagship red blend, Bordeaux style blend, and predominantly Cabernet Sauvignon, which we feel is the flagship variety for this mountain that we're on, Simonsberg. A little bit of Petit Verdot, Malbec, Cabernet Franc, and...
I'm definitely getting about 3% Malbec on the nose.
That's amazing. That 3% makes such a difference, doesn't it?
It's your flagship wine. Why? What makes it your flagship?
Well, Bordeaux blends is really what I feel, and what Tokara feels is what we're about. Cabernet Sauvignon is our dominant variety on the mountain, not because we just planted a lot of it, because it really performs well. And I feel that blending is the way you can make the wine. You can really eke out the best quality every single vintage. So every year it changes a bit, maybe a little bit more Merlot, a little less Merlot, a little more Petit Verdot, and in that way you can make sure that every single year it's a great wine.
So you've got this up for auction tonight. It's the American Express Barrel Auction at the Cape Wine Auction. What are you selling this evening and what should it go for?
So tonight we're tasting out of the 750ml bottle, but we actually have the 3 litre bottles on auction. Every lot is 3 litres, and that's 9 litres of wine, which is equivalent to a 12 bottle case. And I think minimum 1,000 rand a litre.
So I think 3 of them, so that's 9,000
I think 12,000 rand would be a good price for us.
Okay, I won't disagree. Just going to check it quickly. And it really doesn't take too long to realise just why this man is feted around South Africa and beyond for the quality of his winemaking. Yes, he looks like a surfer. In fact, he is one, but he's not falling off surfboards. He's making some splendid wine, and this is as good as it gets from the Stellenbosch area. So 12,000 rand for 9 litres. If that's what you get, it's a pretty good price. Cheers.
Cheers.
So there's some seriously cool stuff up for auction tonight at the barrel tasting. A lot of it is wine from various barrels, but there's some very particular lots, and this might be the coolest of them all. A 1929 port from KWV, and this of course in the days when you could still call it port before the Portuguese got very cross with us. So 1929, this is coming up to 90 years old, not more than a century, and Mark Norrish, you've donated this from your personal collection.
On behalf of my family and myself, I've donated it because this is a great charity auction. I've been coming for the last 5 years to the auction, and I will not miss this evening. And it's such a pleasure to give back to the industry that's been so good to me, and it is about giving back.
Now what you've given here is very special indeed. We're not tasting it tonight because there's not too much of this around, but you've actually had this. Is it still drinkable? Is it still nice?
Dan, over the last 8 years, I've had the privilege of tasting that 5 times. I've tasted some of the greatest wines in the world, including an 1863 port in Portugal that was made when Abraham Lincoln was still alive. That is up there with the 1863 port that I've had. And the amazing thing about this wine, it takes you back to 1929. I wasn't around, you weren't around, but you think of the history and what was going on in South Africa and what was going on in the world. And that's the significance. Why did I choose that bottle out of Julia and my collection? I thought, what's the most difficult bottle to give away? It was that. And that's for charity, and that is a salient question one must ask. Is it coming from the heart, or is it just another wine? That comes from the heart.
Well, it's an enormously generous gesture from you, and it says, amongst other things, that we've got an industry that makes some Cape vintage that's as good as any in the world.
There's no question about that. The interesting thing about KWV is just its centenary. It was started in 1918. So it was just a special occasion to give something away from KWV. Our port's fortified wines now, but this port, it stands up, as I said, with the 1863 port that I have. And if it doesn't go for 15,000, 20,000 rand tonight, I think I'll buy it back.
Well, I'll tell you what, I might be entering that bidding. I know my wife sometimes watches this. If you are watching this, darling, switch off now. There might be a dent in the Children's College Fund, because I think a bid on this is a fantastic investment. It's a 1929 KWV port, the money all going to charity, and fingers crossed, the port's going to me. If you go back to last year, one of our episodes of Dan Really Likes Wine, you'll remember me referencing the short story collection from Neethlingshof and mentioning the large, rugged rugby superstar who makes all of the wine. Well, here is a aforementioned star. It's very great to see you.
Nice to see you again, Dan. Thank you.
And great to see some wine that you introduced me to over lunch at Marble last year.
Yeah, it's thank you again. It's, tonight we're showcasing the Maria, which is our Nobilate Harvest, made from Riesling, very German in style, but it's also very true to our heritage at the estate. And tonight we have a 2017 limited edition wine that it's not been released yet, and obviously we'll bottle specially for the highest bidder.
The short story collection's really cool. It's names for each of the different wines and have all got something intrinsically linked to the Neethlingshof estate. What's the story behind the Maria?
The story is very special. First of all, it's honouring a very, very remarkable lady. Not only was she the first winemaker at the estate in the late 1700s, early 1800s, but she was left a widow at a very young age, and she had to raise 5 children. All by herself she did that, and she made wine, and she built the Manor House, which is now our restaurant at the estate. So all in all, a remarkable lady, and for that reason we're doing a Nobilate Harvest, and we named the Nobilate Harvest after that lady, Maria, and hence the story behind the Maria Nobilate Harvest.
So I'm a little biased here because I've got a real soft spot for dessert wine. I think we make some outstanding sweet stuff here in South Africa. What do you make this quite so special?
Well, the 17 is special in the sense that it was quite a difficult vintage, all in all. So we really had to wait extra long before we could harvest the fruit. So it's really an extra Nobilate harvest. Once we got that raisins and the botrytis, there weren't a lot of it. So the volume is limited, but the concentration is out of this world. Dried apricots, honeycomb, something really, really special. And this wine will last. This wine will outlast you and I'm pretty sure. So it's a sweet wine, is sticky, can go on for ages. So this is something very special.
It'll last both of us. That's a big call because we're both very young and athletic. Let's try it. And this is why we need to drink more of South African dessert wine. It's sweet but not overly so. It's got such a lovely honeycomb feel to it. This is just glorious. And I reckon you could have 3 or 4 bottles of this dessert quite happily. Whoever buys this has got a great bid. Thanks for the contribution to it. Thanks for making great wine.
Thank you very much. Enjoy.
Cheers. Well, the history of Dan Really Likes Wine can be traced back to late 2016 when I got bullied into doing this show by a failed banker who'd spent his life ironing shirts for Paul Harris and somehow found himself in a role as South Africa's go-to entrepreneur. He's now my fellow director of Dan Really Likes Wine and a good friend of mine, Michael Jordaan. Nice to see you.
Nice to see you as well, Dan.
Now, not unusually, you've got a glass in both hands. What have you got with you here tonight?
You asked me to select my favourite wine, and I couldn't choose one, so I've got 2 here, which is Telima. I believe you're also covering it in your show. So this is the Cabernet Sauvignon.
Yeah.
It's the wine for which they've become famous. And I've got the 92, which is the one you're covering, and the 2014.
Which I've got a glass of as well.
And the interesting thing for me is how it's aged, and you can actually taste the same wine, but so many years apart. It's a beauty, it's an elegant Cabernet, and I think I'm still going to have a lot of it.
All right, well, give it a taste and give us your intimate thoughts on the 92.
Maybe I should start with the 92.
Yeah.
I like that it's lean. It's not one of these fruit bombs, so it allows you to drink an elegant wine and have a lot of it. This one's also, as you know, very well known for its mintiness, which they say comes from the eucalyptus, which grow not far from here. So it's the leanness that doesn't explode and that's elegant and lasts a long time that I enjoy.
Much like us, very lean and very appealing.
That's what people say about us when we're lucky.
And then the other one, which I'm trying as well, this is the 2014.
Yes, the 2014.
And you can get very similar characteristics, just a completely different age.
That's exactly the thing that I think is part of a great wine, that you're going to get continuity through the ages. You get it here. Obviously the fruit is a lot fresher and a rounder mouth taste. You can drink this one now, but you could also leave it on your shelf for many, many years and it will have the same characteristics.
Just quickly, this whole event, I know you've been a trustee in the past, it's such a special gathering and such a really wonderful initiative.
Well, it's great that you're part of it, that there's also a sense of humour, that people here don't take themselves too seriously, because it is for charity after all. But it's also a wonderful thing for South African wine. You know, we need to celebrate what we have. These are excellent products in a beautiful area, fun people who make it their passion and lifestyle to produce what we have in our hands. So it's a wonderful event.
And there we go. What a good note to end this evening's show, this week's show on. We're here at Tokara. It is the Friday night barrel tasting with American Express. Thank you to everyone who's been part of it tonight. Some superb wine, some great causes. And I think finally, on behalf of Michael and myself, a big thank you to G&T Ferreira, the owner of Tokara, because he's let Michael back here. Last time Michael and his wife Rose were here, they got thrown out for swimming nude in the fountain. So thank you, G&T, for letting him back. He does work for me, so I do appreciate it. Some great wine, a great cause, and some fantastic people. Cheers.
Yeah.